All right, Michael Snyder, welcome. You know Michael Snyder. He is our in-house movie critic. San Francisco kid and a Super Giants and Niners fan. But now you're here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, but you're lucky I'm here. With this virus
we
scare.
always feel that way.
No, the virus scare, I was afraid to leave the apartment. As a matter of fact, things have gotten so bad that I heard Corona Beer is rebranding as Penicillin Ale.
Oh, okay, everybody. Michael comes in with the prepared material.
Hey, listen.
He's a nice guy.
No, I know he is, but he comes in with the...
I don't want to hear you.
That's right. It doesn't always go over with everybody.
They have a tagline for the ad, good for what ails you. But I'm saying seriously.
My God.
Okay, fine.
All right.
Whatever. Anyway,
Listen, Brett, I'm going to go in the other room. Tell me when Michael's material is done.
Okay, yeah. Let me give you another line. In fact, they're actually using this, and there's a debate over whether they should drop it. Corona is using the phrase "coming ashore soon."
Oh my God, are you joking?
I'm not joking.
Oh, my God. Well, you see, I was quasi-joking, but I'm afraid that there is a ripple effect here. Look at the stock market. I hear Corona Beer tanking. Their IPO went to hell, but maybe not. Maybe not.
It's not just Corona, though. It's Budweiser is taking a huge hit, and it's not because of the coronavirus. It's because of the surge in seltzer drinks.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes, that is.
Well,
people are ordering. Guy, that's
exactly
so wild. That used to be a
huge
go-to brand.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, all that aside, I know people do want to know what's happening at the movies, even if they're afraid to go to the theater right now. So we should probably get to that.
Hey, our time is limited, so let's get right into it.
Hey, The Invisible Man is a...
I saw the trailer. How do you think? Do you like that movie?
The whole idea is that Universal Pictures has all these monster movies from yore. Frankenstein, Dracula, The Invisible Man, The Wolf Man, The Mummy, and they've been trying to repurpose them for the 21st century, and they haven't been doing a good job of it. The Dracula reboot tanked. The Mummy with Tom Cruise wrapped in bandages, I think I recall. I don't know. Tripping over his own bandages, even though he was doing all his own stunts. But I'm saying it wasn't very good. On the other hand, they brought in Saw Master, the guy who was one of the main people behind the Saw movies, to do a reboot of The Invisible Man. And they focus on The Invisible Man. They focus on a woman who's in a very... oppressive relationship, played by Elizabeth Moss, and she's really terrific in this. And she tries to get out of this relationship. A San Francisco area scientist, very, very wealthy and well-to-do, has been basically controlling her life, and she wants out. And she does manage to escape, but things happen. He commits suicide and leaves a large portion of his estate to her. But then she begins being plagued by all kinds of what appear to be paranormal problems. And, of course, there are stipulations to her inheritance. And it was scary and it was funny. And
Saw is really scary. And if it's done by the Saw people.
Right.
Is it that degree of grittiness or not?
No. As a matter of fact, this is above the gory B-movie lunacy of Saw, which I think bodes well for Lee Whannell continuing to do
other stuff after
bigger
this.
And better things that aren't specifically genre-oriented. This worked, and one of the reasons it works is Elizabeth Moss is so compelling on screen as this woman who is falling into paranoia and fear. And in fact, maybe there is something after her. But to say that there is would ruin the excitement of the film.
Yeah. If it's called The Invisible Man, I can guess that it's The Invisible Man.
Well, you know what's not going to be invisible? Butts in the seats. I think people are going to like this thing. It's interesting.
But it was shot, it's a San Francisco movie.
Yeah, but believe it or not, I think it was largely shot in Munich, Germany, my friend.
Oh, my God.
I know I love San Francisco movies. I really do. When I was...
Well, they used to shoot them here in the city. They're shooting Matrix right now here in the city.
Exactly. And Ant-Man was shot, and Ant-Man and the Wasp were shot in the city. And let's not forget that, there's a long history of fantastic films.
Yeah.
That are,
classic films, Vertigo, and give me another classic
Well,
film.
let me say, a long time ago,
Thank you.
I was actually watching a
Mrs.
VHS.
Doubtfire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chime in when you want, Michael.
No, I was watching a VHS tape of a 1974 film, like a buddy crime thriller about two SF police detectives. It was called Freebie and the Bean. And I'm watching this thing on VHS, and I suddenly realized they have shot a long action scene outside my apartment. And you can actually see on the street, on the video, my old landlord standing there. And I thought, oh, my God, this is phenomenal. It was considerably before I moved there, but I was still, completely blown away. But it made me think, horror movies, monster films. We just talked about it.
And there are moments like that. When I saw Vertigo for the first time, the Hitchcock film.
Right.
He drives, Jimmy Stewart.
Right.
Drives from the Fairmont on Nob Hill, and he drives, and they actually follow the drive fairly accurately, and drives over to Russian Hill, and pulls down the hill, the bottom of Lombard Street. After the windy part, there's one block more. Now, of course, there's more than that, but there's a block more. At the end of that block is where Jimmy Stewart lived. Well, I lived right behind that.
Oh, my God.
I go, my God, I look at that door every morning when I wake up.
Wait. You don't dress up as your mother and stab people, though, do you?
That's a different movie. That's Psycho.
I know. Hitchcock is Hitchcock.
All right. Anyway, what else? I'm sorry.
Diary of a Teenage Girl is one of my favorite coming-of-age films, and fairly recent vintage, 2015, and it was definitely a San Francisco production. In fact, one night I was at the Royal Ground, my go-to office on Polk Street, and they were shooting at the Fern Bar across the street, and all of it shows up in the movie. Kristen Wiig, Alexander Skarsgård are in that film, and Belle Powley plays the titular teenage girl. I have to say, I dated a woman back in the day. This is crazy. She financed her artistic pursuits. She was into painting and sculpting with a job as a hostess at Ernie's, which figures prominently in Vertigo, as it happens.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's now defunct. But so our second date, I went up to her place, and it was this really sleek Art Deco building at 1360 Montgomery on Telegraph Hill. And this turns out to be the same apartment where Lauren Bacall's character lived and gave shelter to Humphrey Bogart's character in the 1947 film noir Dark Passage. It only utilized exteriors, and they shot a lot of the stuff, in Hollywood studios in terms of the apartment inside.
Interiors, yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's wild. So I never saw a movie.
I remember I have this vivid recollection of the two of us standing at her window looking out over the Golden Gate at night with the stars twinkling and a boat going under. It was just so damned romantic. And, you're watching this illuminated yacht and you're standing there, like Bacall and Bogey, essentially. Oh, we were a little more mundane than that. I wasn't inclined to punch anybody out, and she didn't tell me to just whistle. So
Give me one more parting film for the weekend.
Oh, you know what? Once We're Brothers, which is the story of Robbie Robertson and the band, the really wonderful Americana innovators, the band that worked with Bob Dylan. That documentary is out right now, and even though it's largely from Robertson's point of view, he and Garth Hudson are the only two members of the quintet that are still alive. And, Robertson got deep into the Hollywood scene. He ended up being a soundtrack composer, and he hung out with Marty Scorsese, and got deep into that in the mid to late 70s. And in fact, Scorsese directed The Last Waltz, which was the documentary about the band's last concert.
Is that all in the film?
All the stuff is their history as part of Levon and the Hawks, and before that, Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks. Their relationship to Dylan, preparation and on-stage footage from The Last Waltz, and a little stuff in reflection as to what happened to the five members of the group. And people may recollect that the band kind of revived itself without Robbie Robertson, but he was the driving wheel. And so the band truly ended with that final concert at The Last Waltz, and all of that is here, including also reflections of archival footage of the late members of the group. And you even get Robertson's wife going on the record about what went down back in the day, and all that music is gorgeous. And it's again, it's from Robertson's point of view, so it's a little slanted, and maybe it's not a full view. But
if you like the band, the music of the band, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Weight, Shape I'm In, all the stuff they did with Dylan. They were the band when Dylan went electric, and people booed him off stages because he had left his folk roots behind in their mind. The band was the band.
Brett, I tell you, Michael knows music, he knows movies, he knows television. It's amazing. You get him talking about like some BBC show or some obscure Danish show.
Right.
Michael, you're like some savant. Very impressive. We love having you stop by.
So glad you didn't say idiot savant, but it's always my pleasure to be here.
You left out the football expert too, right?
Oh, he does have strong. He is a sports guy. About San Francisco stuff, I think, particularly. Sure. Right, you're a Niners Giants.
Niners, Giants, Warriors, born and raised as a Warriors fan. And, believe me, I've wedded myself to those other two teams. And I may be a little disappointed about my Dubs and a little apprehensive about the Giants season coming up.
There's both of them covered in crap.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't think they're that bad.
I'm waiting for mid-August because the Niners revenge tour is coming.
Michael Snyder! Thank you for joining us,
Thanks,
Michael.
Michael.
Pat's next, and we'll wedge in one more story on KGO 810.